What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Thank you for downloading the RJ Young Show podcast. Today, I want to talk a bit about Nebraska football and Ohio State football. I want to talk a little bit about what I think the top 10 teams are in college football. Get a little bit into the SP plus win totals for the SEC provided by the Bill Connolly, and I have a lot of fun with those. And we'll talk a little bit about the late, great Gale Sayre. But first, thanks for joining. Thanks for being. Thanks for you. And I want to talk a little bit about Oklahoma and Kansas State because naturally, right, you know what time it is. Kind of like Bill Simmons and the Boston Celtics. I kind of got opinions about Oklahoma all the time. But this is a much more broad issue that doesn't just relate to Oklahoma. It relates to college football. Among the things that Lincoln Riley decided to touch on yesterday was this decision by the NCAA to extend the dead period through December, which means that we would have a dead period that has lasted since March through December, which means that nobody would be allowed to take an official visit since March 11th through December. It also means that the all-important evaluation period and contact period is chucked out the window. By way of illustration, Riley took pains to say, like last week, which is a bye week for him, in which he had a home game, so they didn't have a lot to get prepared for in the way of traveling on the road, was wildly weird to him because he did not have that much to do. He didn't have that much to do because he's usually into hosting kids on campus, preparing to host kids on campus, and his 10 assistants are out and about the country getting to know and watching a high school talent from 2021 on up through 2022, 2023, 2024, and in some cases, 2025. This is the time for which not only do you solidify your recruiting class, but you are making inroads into next year's recruiting class. Even now, we're talking about Luther Bond, who is one of the best wide receivers in the country, is trying to whittle his list of suitors. But Dennis Simmons can't go see him because it is impermissible for Dennis Simmons to go see him. It's also at a time when Oklahoma is in a fierce battle for a number of top prospects. Among them, wide receiver Emeka Egbuka, who wants to take a visit to Oklahoma, but now we know will not get to take an official visit during the college football season. Dabo Swinney made himself heard about this last week. And in making himself heard, I couldn't see anything wrong with what he's saying, which is to say, wait a second, we can have fans in the stands, socially distanced, wearing masks, but we can have fans in the stands. We can have media at games. We can have people for which it takes to put these games on television at the games. And we can create an environment, we think, that takes care of more than 100 people and has daily testing in some cases, 3-day-a-week testing in other cases, to provide additional information about who has it and who doesn't, but we can't invite kids and their families to this, to which I understand the argument that the NCAA is giving, which is one that I support, but one that unravels very quickly once you start playing football, and it's this. You can't actually have a bunch of people around and expect the virus to stop. And you can't operate in a place where you just say the virus is going to be around. I don't accept that. As a matter of fact, I made the observation yesterday that Notre Dame had to postpone its game against Wake Forest this weekend because they had 7 positive tests and then they lost a bunch of kids due to contact tracing. They didn't even practice yesterday. Notre Dame has a $13.8 billion endowment. And if they can't afford to take care of their players, then how the hell else can anybody else afford to take care of their players? Now, different regions have different laws and different quarantine and procedures for how to go about this, and I understand that. But we all know that Notre Dame is one of the richest universities in the country and one of the most well-to-do football programs, if not storied, in the country. To which Joel Klatt decided to ask an honest question, for which I thought I gave an honest answer about, do I think that the players on campus are going to get better care at home than on campus, or they're going to be able to get these hard exams that they might need at home and on campus. To which I said, this is not about whether or not they're going to get that care. It's about stopping the spread of the virus. And for the people that say that you can't stop the spread of the virus, I would also say, have you looked around the rest of the world? They got it pretty well under control in Germany, in South Korea, in New Zealand, in large part because they were doing what we were doing from March to about May, in which we decided not to see each other. We cut off contact with each other. It sucked. It would have continued to suck if we did it for as long as we needed to do it, which probably would have been through June or July and then start back up. But nobody wanted to wait that long because we live in a capitalistic society where the money has to turn over. And if the money doesn't turn over, we got a world of hurt. And people are saying, I would rather live in this world of hurt than have the money turn off. So now that the money's back on, people are trying to tell me with a straight face that we live in an age where the virus is going to be. They're going to get the virus one way or another. That's not true. It's about self-discipline. The same individualism that has you thinking that you need to go to work is the same individualism that could have kept you safe and stopped the spread of the virus simply by making the decision that the collective is more important than the individual, and we didn't do that. So at the bottom of my assertion that if Notre Dame can't take care of the kids, how can we take care of ourselves, is at the bottom of this conversation around player safety, player advocacy, and at the bottom of that is the health and safety of the country. Because I can lead you down a rabbit hole very quickly that shows, are you picking yourself or are you picking them? You can pick both. You need the collective and the group. And if we continue on with football, we're going to continue seeing the postponement of games. To date, we've had 29 games played. We've had 18 cancellations, with this morning seeing UNT and Houston called off. This after Baylor and Houston was called off. We're going to keep seeing this because the virus is not going anywhere because we refused to stop congregating. And if you are going to have football, you have to have people congregating in the hundreds. On the other hand, for the dead period, you're looking at this going, well, since we're having the people that are congregating in the hundreds, why not just have more congregate? Because it's unsafe. It's not about whether or not you're going to get infected. It's not even about whether or not you're asymptomatic. It's that you could pass that virus to at-risk populations. People with asthma, people with heart and lung conditions, people who cannot afford to contract this virus. And now news from the Washington Post earlier today says the damn thing is mutating. It's getting to understand what we're doing to try to combat it, and it's growing stronger. That is why it's called a novel coronavirus, because it's new. I don't feel safe doing this stuff, but as long as we're going to be talking football and people are going to play football, I'm going to talk about football. All right. Here we go. I want to do a read, and then we can talk a little bit about Bill Connelly, talk a little bit about, well, teams I think that are best in college football and a bit else. But, you know, as always, we start with Manscape, who is, well, doing a really great job with me. I mean, you can see that, you know, I got on my nice clothes today because I got parent-teacher conferences, and, you know, I don't want to look like a slob in front of the teacher, you know, the kids in second grade, and I'm really trying to put on. Let's see. So in doing that, being able to get rid of the, you know, unwanted hair is a big deal. So you can support the RJ Young Show podcast by visiting manscape.com and purchasing anything there using the code RJShow. Get 20% off and free shipping. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. Since we're coming right out and talking about tools and jewels, I tell you, I used the Lawnmower 3.0 to take care of myself, clean some stuff up. Laurel gave a review of the Lawnmower 3.0 on the Saturday podcast. Michael Bishop, go check that out. I didn't cut myself. I feel like if you wanted to use it on your head, you could be all right, although it's not for that because it is billed as the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created. So I tried it with the ceramic blade, which is part of the advanced skin-safe technology that was actually pioneered by Manscape. I did use it in the shower, works in the shower, lasts for 90 minutes for those of y'all that want to put, cool designs and stuff down there. It's got the LED light in case you are in the dark. I get natural light into my bathroom, so I'm good there. Again, use the code RJSHOW at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code RJSHOW at manscaped.com. 20% off, free shipping, RJSHOW, manscaped.com. Again, guys, I'm looking for like 5 of y'all to use the code. Like, literally, just 5. Go buy anything. Like, I got the tweezers packet coming. I got the nose hair trimmer coming. Like, because I'm a hairy dude. It's like when other dudes got to be 6'5", I got to get all this hair. So now I got the locks and I got the beard and we good. And I appreciate you joining me at 2 o'clock instead of scheduled time at 3 o'clock because, again, parent-teacher conferences. Y'all understand. Most of y'all got kids. The ones of y'all that don't got kids, I don't know what to tell you except glad you're here. All right. So let's talk a little bit about Bill Connelly's SEC win totals for 2020. I find this to be really interesting and really cool, and I love that Bill does it because, well, I like talking noise about the SEC just as much as the next guy. Anyway, one of the things that I found to be wild interesting about this is that the likelihood of a team going undefeated is not very good. Not very good. The best shot anybody has at going undefeated is Alabama. And they're getting a 10% shot to go undefeated according to his SP+, which has been pretty good at predicting odds and predicting how well a team is going to perform because that's what the SP+ is for. They probably are going to go 8-2, right? With them getting a high percentage of just winning 8 games in their 10-game schedule. And the idea of an 8-2 SEC team versus 7-1 B1G team is going to be really fascinating and really loud, as he said. I agree with that because let's say Ohio State is able to beat everybody but Penn State and then wins a Big Ten championship versus a, for the sake of argument, Georgia team that takes a loss to Alabama in the regular season and then takes a loss to Alabama in the SEC championship game. Which team should get in? I think most people would say Ohio State because they won a Big Ten championship, not even because they got one fewer loss. But I also see that that's going to be on the table because we just don't have enough teams this year, which is why I want to do the top 10 thing and not a top 25 thing. Poor old Vanderbilt has the worst opportunity here, right? Like, oh my God, like, they have a 40% chance of going winless, which is, what? Like, why is Vanderbilt still in the SEC? What do they really want to get out of this? What is Derek Mason actually after? Nah, man. Like, could not be me and be a Vanderbilt fan. Actually, unless you rooting for baseball, what are you actually rooting for with Vanderbilt? Not a whole hell of a lot. So they have a 40% chance going winless. They have a 39% chance of getting a win. And they got a 16% chance of getting 2 wins. And they got a 1% chance of getting 4 wins. Vanderbilt, sorry about you. So those are your 2 best, that's your best team, and that's your worst team. Okay, next on the list, just going alphabetically here, Arkansas. I've said a lot about Arkansas. I will continue to say a lot about Arkansas because Arkansas is fascinating to me from a coaching standpoint, personnel standpoint, and now from a we have the world's toughest schedule standpoint. I like Sam Pittman. I like Kendall Browse in that offense. If they're able to keep the group together for 2-3 years, they could be really good. Barry Odom coaching the defense. But they get an 18% chance of going winless, a 37% chance of winning a game, and a 28% chance of winning 2, and a 12% chance of winning 3. They got a 1% chance of going 5-5. I believe that if Arkansas is able to go 5-5 with this schedule, you rank them On general damn principle, you rank them. Auburn, next on the list, has really great odds to win 6 of its 10 games, 28%, 25% chance to win 7, 14% chance to win 8, and then an 4% chance to win 9, right? Of the teams that we expect to win the SEC championship, Auburn is like 4th on that list to me because I see Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and then perhaps Auburn, which leads me to Florida, right? Who's getting a really great chance to win 8 games at 30% likelihood, 7 games, 27% likelihood, and then 9 wins is an 18% likelihood. Again, they get past the world's largest cocktail party, they'll be all right. LSU, the SP Plus and I agree on something, which is say LSU is going to be mediocre. I've said 5 wins. The highest chance here for LSU and the SP Plus, 4 wins, 6 wins, 4 losses. 6 wins, 4 losses. So they might be able to get one more win than I thought they could get. But I still think they're going to catch 5 losses if we play a bowl game. That's just me, right? You don't have Jamar Chase. You don't have Kerry Vincent. You don't have Tyler Shelvin. You got a new defensive coordinator, a new passing game coordinator, and a brand spanking new quarterback with 4 brand spanking new offensive linemen. Y'all not going to be very good. Matter of fact, you could catch an L against Mississippi State, and that's a game you're supposed to win. We'll see how that goes. Speaking of Mississippi State, they could go 4-6, and that would probably be a good year for them this year, based on their schedule and who they got to face and being in the SEC West. 27% chance of winning 4 games, 14% chance of winning 5, 5% chance of winning 6. Then there's Missouri. Good God, they start off against Alabama this week. Eli Drinkwitz already going to be without some players. You're going to have to break Sean Robinson in up against DJ Dale, Dylan Mosley, Patrick Surtain Jr., and Pete Golden. Good luck, right? They are getting a 29% chance to win 3 games, 27% chance to win 4, and a 16% chance to win 5. Ole Miss, the Lane Train, with John Rice Plumlee and Matt Corral and Jerry and Ely. Again, they get to 4 wins. That's successful. 29% chance to do that. 22% chance to win 5. South Carolina, Will Muschamp. And as Spencer Hall once said, just going to pick up this big rock and hit you with it. They're going to go with Colin Hill at quarterback. Colin Hill, who looks like Gardner Minshew. And Jake Fromm had a baby and decided to name it Colin Hill. That's going to be your starting quarterback with Ryan Olinsky on the back burner. Here's the thing about South Carolina that I find just wild. They had a first-round draft pick at defensive tackle last year in Javon Kinlaw. And the last 2 drafts, they've had absolutely outstanding wide receivers. Deebo Samuel and Bryan Edwards taken. They got the dudes. Like, they had Tavian Feaster in the backfield last year. That dude came from Clemson. They got the dudes. It's about whether or not Will Muschamp can put it together. And when you look at South Carolina and what they were able to do, reconciling how crappy they were with going into Sanford and jacking the Georgia Bulldogs for the hedges in broad daylight, they ought to be good. But I still don't think that they're going to be better than the 4th best team in the SEC East. Ugh. Tennessee, the team I think is going to be the 3rd best team, if Kentucky is Kentucky, in the SEC East. They're getting a 19% chance to win 4 games and a 28% chance to win 5. That same 28% goes to South Carolina to win 4. Then you got Ampersand U, who expects to have a good year, but they've had opt-out after opt-out after opt-out. Still, 27% chance of winning 7 games. That's the same amount that they're getting to win 6. So the 6-7 is where you should probably live for Ampersand U. And we touched on Vanderbilt. Did we touch on Kentucky? I skipped Kentucky. I don't know how I skipped Kentucky. Everybody seems to skip Kentucky in football. 28% chance to win 5 games, 22% chance to win 6, 27% chance to win 7. Mark Stoops is the SEC version of Texas Christian and Gary Patterson. They're going to play outstanding defense. They're going to make it happen on defense. The fact that Mark Stoops was able to beat Virginia Tech in a bowl game and play with Georgia in a monsoon bowl with a Wildcat quarterback tells you what you need to know about Kentucky. Matter of fact, Kentucky probably should have beat Florida last year. They get Terry Wilson back. Dale City stand up. And I think they're going to be able to run the ball. I think they're going to be able to play defense. Would not be shocked to see Kentucky get a win against Auburn this weekend, but we'll have to wait and see. I really like the 1-1 there because Texas Christian versus Kentucky, I would like to see that in a bowl game. I would also like to see both of them have a damn good quarterback and see what Mark Stoops and Gary Patterson are capable of with that. We know what Gary Patterson is capable of. He had Trayvon Boykin, and they were good. Shocker, right? So coming out of the SEC East, I think it's still going to be Georgia. I think Alabama's going to come out of the West. But we'll see how it shakes out. It's going to be a fun weekend. I'm sure of it. All right. Here we go. I'm going to do a read, and then we'll check the chat, see what y'all got to say now that we're about 20 minutes in. Working on another thing today, man. Wild. Like, sooner or later, I'm going to be able to tell you about this other thing that I'm working on that is wild, but it takes up a tremendous amount of my time. Does your business need to rank higher in the search engines? Do you want everything your company touches to turn to gold? If you answered yes to either of those questions, you and your business could get your act together at the Pimpin' Ain't Easy Marketing Conference. Attend keynote speeches made by marketing gurus like Bishop Don Juan and a pimp named Slickback. Participate in workshops and learn more about your target market and how you can get their attention in our high-tech world from such renowned professionals like Craig's girlfriend Joy's sister-in-law's baby cousin Tracy. This event is not free, and neither are your meals. So if you're a broke booty Buster Brown, this might not be your get down. Only real get money hustlers need apply at the Pimpin' Ain't Easy marketingconference.com. My thanks to the great folks at Pimpin' Ain't Easy for continuing to partner with the RJ Young Show. All right, what else we got here? Let's see what we got in the way of my questions. Let me see. What do you think about Oklahoma State versus West Virginia? I think West Virginia ought to be able to mop the floor with Oklahoma State if they just don't do what Tulsa did, which is penalize themselves by 115 yards. Do you realize that the University of Tulsa had more penalty yards than rushing yards in a game that they damn sure could have won? On the road? Yeah, man. I'm here for Neil Brown getting him a win against Oklahoma State so we can see them not in the top 25 because they were just the latest Big 12 team to embarrass this Podunk Conference. That's what I think. When will an SEC team schedule UCF? I mean, Florida wants the 2-for-1. Danny White wants a 1-for-1. Danny White is the athletic director at Central Florida. I think when UCF is ready to give Florida a 2-for-1, they'll go schedule them. I also understand why Central Florida wants a 1-to-1 because a 2-for-1 does not help them because they believe that, y'all should treat them like the 2017 national champs that they are. And Florida's like, yeah, all right, come on, man. Come on now. To which Central Florida's like, did we not just beat the hell out of Georgia Tech? I say beat the hell out of. That game got a little too close for many people's comfort. And now we got to see Central Florida versus East Carolina is going to be the noon game on ABC against Oklahoma and Kansas State. Good luck with that. That's because, of course, we lost Wake Forest and Notre Dame at noon on Saturday. I think that Neil Brown finds a quarterback, they'll be all right. He and his merry band of JUCO rejects going to be just fine because I think West Virginia has become de facto Kansas State presently. What Kansas State was, what Kansas State was during the Bill Snyder era, not what Kansas State is during the Chris Kleiman era. Let's see. Steve Heyman, what's going on? Not a whole hell of a lot, dog. Got on a collared shirt. Dang, 1% chance Mike Leach goes 0-10. Big sad. Yeah. Mike Leach is Mike Leach. He'll be fine. Why couldn't the SEC let Vandy and Arkansas play each other? I don't know. It would be a good question to ask the SEC conference office, though. I'm sure that Arkansas asked that question. I'm sure Vanderbilt asked that question. I'll bet nobody else gave a damn. Let's see. Anything else we got in here? When does Clemson schedule UCF? They don't. They don't. What for? It's like saying, when does Alabama schedule North Dakota State? They don't. They got nothing to win on that, man. They got everything to lose. If you beat Central Florida, you're supposed to beat Central Florida. If you lose to them, you lost to Central Florida. Same thing with Alabama and North Dakota State. Alabama ain't got nothing to gain from that. You beat North Dakota State by 35. We'd say that you're supposed to beat them by 35. North Dakota State plays with you and you still win. We'd be like, man, North Dakota State, that's a good football team. Is Alabama a good football team? We don't know. North Dakota State beats Alabama. We would never let Alabama forget it. Yeah, that's why these games don't get scheduled, because people worry about how they look. It's vanity. It's the whole bit, man. They have matchups with Cincy in the future. Why are you popping in here like Cincy's on level with Clemson and Alabama? Stop that. Matchups with Cincy. Only people that give a damn about Cincy are in Ohio. Okay? We entertain Cincy. It's like saying, you know what? TU's got Oklahoma on the schedule. So what? TU's got Ohio State on the schedule like next year. You know who's looking forward to that? TU fans. You know who give a damn? Everybody else. Stop that. Get out of here with that take. Let me see. I'm still getting dudes that are asking if Ohio State and Clemson are going to beat each other. Do I need to do this? Is this what we're doing now? Because I feel like all I'm doing is repeating myself. You know, Clemson fans want to talk the noise to Ohio State fans when Clemson is new money. Ohio State has more NFL draft picks than anybody else in history. Ohio State's been one of those dominant programs for decades. It's like Ohio State, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Alabama to a degree, but Alabama wasn't like dominant for about 15 years from the 90s to the Saban era. Like, all right, I'm going to walk into this one. The reason that I made the live stream headline, give us Ryan Day's Ohio State versus Scott Frost's Nebraska for the Big Ten Championship, is because I think that would be a lot of fun, and I think it would be good for the Big Ten. I think it'd be good for the sport. I think it'd be good for the sport because Nebraska is integral to college football. Nebraska has been good at college football basically forever, and with the exception of more or less the last 7 to 10 years, they've been outstanding, right? Because, like, even in the last Big 12 championship game they played in, Ndamukong Suh was styling on a Texas team that played for a national championship. Nebraska was good. When you had Bo Pelini running the show, they were good. They weren't winning championships, but they were good. Then you fire that dude and you've really figured out how life can go. Bill Callahan as a head coach. Mike Riley as a head coach to fix stuff. Yikes. And now you got Scott Frost. Scott Frost, who was a favorite son of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And at a time when Nebraska has been talking so much noise and sticking their nose in where it don't belong, that the Big Ten conference schedule has taken out and whipped Nebraska. Said, this is for talking too much. We're going to give you all the good teams in this conference. We're going to make this a very unfair schedule to you, Nebraska, because, damn it, you wanted football? Now you got football. Congratulations. You're going on the road to Columbus to play the most talented football team in the country in the Ohio State Buckeyes. I also think that having Ohio State play against Nebraska in the Big Ten Conference Championship would be a once-in-a-lifetime deal, because I don't see Nebraska being able to repeat this next year if they are able to make it to a conference championship. And I sure as hell don't expect Ohio State to be as good next year as they are this year. Because I have to underscore this. While I don't agree with putting yourself in a position to lose millions of dollars, that's what Shaun Wade and Wyatt Davis have done. Because they want to go back to Ohio State because they want to win a national championship. Cool. I also know that they're the only program in the entire country who has managed to pull off that feat. Pull not one, but two future first rounders back into the fold in the middle of a Corona season where you might not be able to play every game on the schedule, where you might just happen to slip in one game and not make the national championship game. so you can play college football for free. To which, yada, 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 all this noise y'all want to talk about what a college degree means and winning national championships is more important than making millions of dollars, which is a bold-faced lie. But they there, and they're going to play, and I'm going to watch it play, and I'm excited about them, right? I'm excited about guys like Court Williams. I want to see where that dude actually ends up playing because he can play like 5 positions for Ohio State. I'm excited to see Jackson Smith and Jigba play at wideout, Mookie Cooper at wideout, G. Scott's kid at wideout, right? I want to see what Julian Fleming looks like in this offense. I would love to see Trey Sermon get an opportunity to go for 2,000 yards rushing in this offense, though you can't do it in 9 games. I don't think you can do it in 9 games. I want to see if Shaun Wade actually is as good as he thinks he is at playing outside corner. Not that I doubt him, I just want to see it. I want to see Josh Proctor as the single high free safety. I want to see Kerry Combs as defensive coordinator. There's a lot of stuff that I'm interested to see about Ohio State. On the flip side, I want to see if Nebraska can one day get back to being Nebraska. And I can't think of a better year for Nebraska to be Nebraska than 2020, man. Like, put Savion in the backfield, Scott, and hand Savion the ball because Adrian Martinez ain't it, bruh. Ain't it. You need to get you a damn quarterback. Like, after what he did in that 1 year in Central Florida, I feel like we expected so much of Scott Frost, and we expected so much of it to happen soon. Like, what people kept saying was, nah, man, forget year 1, Scott Frost in year 2. Scott Frost in year 2 goes from 0-12 at UCF to 12-0 at UCF. Scott Frost in year 2. Year 2 came. 5-7. He went 5-7. Like, what? You're depending on late field goals being missed so you can get bowl eligible. Nebraska, this is who you are now. I don't want it to be who you are, but this is definitely who you are now. And since you were out here being loud about wanting to play college football and out here being loud about what the Big Ten ain't gonna do, now you're getting a chance to take on the Big Ten and exact your revenge. They just ain't make it easy for you. They ain't not gonna give you no easy damn schedule. Nah, baby. You the newest member. You the Johnny come lately to the Big Ten. You 6 minutes old in the Big Ten. People like Ohio State got a cakewalk. Ohio State is the Big Ten. They've been a Big Ten member since Methuselah. Right? Like, you go back to the book of Genesis, you go see Ohio State in the Big Ten. You expected them to come after Ohio State in their conference? You must be crazy. You must be outside your mind. Nah, Nebraska, you gonna get every bit of this whooping. Because 1, you talk too much, and 2, you Nebraska. You can take it. It's all right. Nebraska had a defensive tackle as a Heisman finalist, had a damn defensive end as a Heisman finalist, had an offensive lineman as a Heisman finalist, and number running backs, quarterbacks as Heisman finalists. Y'all all right. Y'all got the tradition and all of that, right? And remember, the virus ain't affecting Nebraska like it's affecting everywhere else, which is a blow-faced lie. Nah, either Nebraska is going to put on or Nebraska's going to get put out. That's how I feel about this. What we got in here? Let me see. I mean, everybody wanted Nebraska to bring, or Frost to bring Nebraska back to prominence. You ain't saying nothing. We all like it. Who is this dude over here talking about Minnesota? What's your name? What's your name? Benjamin Schluckenbeyer? I can't even make that up. Like, that's his name. Look, Minnesota had one good year. One good year. The best year y'all had since Lawrence friggin' Maroney. Like, you talking about Jerry Kill. Minnesota? Nah, man, when we think about Minnesota, we think about 1940. We think about the 60s. Who is Minnesota to us? Like, we don't, who are you? Who are you? What are those? Minnesota gets a win against Auburn, all of a sudden they britches getting just getting tight. Getting tight around their waist. They feel like they got to strut. Got to open up the zipper. Got to let everybody know what's down there. Nah, man, Minnesota, y'all, you go get dealt with. Like, you ain't got Ohio State on the schedule, and you ought to thank your lucky stars for that. But you go get dealt with, right? Number one, I don't think Rashad Bateman is going to get this waiver because the NCAA rules are clear. Sign with an agent, no longer a college football player. I don't necessarily agree with it. I think you should be able to make money while you're in college football. But them's the rules. And I guarantee you break this rule, ain't nobody going to let you forget it. Okay? Plus, Tanner Morgan is decent. He ain't good. He had Tyler Vaughn, he had Rashad Bateman, and he had a 6th-year running back go for 1,100 yards. To say nothing of Antoine Winfield Jr. over there on the other side. He had one of the best defensive backs in the country. Nah, man, y'all better hope that the boat don't sink. Minnesota can't even get past Wisconsin. Wisconsin tells you what they're going to do, and you still can't stop it. They say we're going to line up, we're going to run the damn ball, and we're going to play defense. You're going to get every bit of Jalen Berger and Jim Leonard's defense. If you can beat it, fine. If you can't, we're going to eat you alive. Minnesota saw that and got dealt with. All right? Stop that. Minnesota. Can't stand Minnesota fans out here acting big. Like, you are more insufferable than Oregon fans. Oregon fans win one Pac-12 championship, win one Rose Bowl. Don't hear nothing from them. They still talking noise. They don't even get to play football this fall, we think. Man. Whatever. Random name. I appreciate that because like Wednesdays I try to interact with the chat because like on Mondays I talk with my best friend, Ron. And whenever it's just me doing the show, right? Y'all become a part of the show. Like if I had a producer that was in here, I'd probably be talking to him too. Let me see what we got in here. Is this the most talented Ohio State offense you have ever seen, better than last year? I mean, 2002 was pretty damn talented. Matter of fact, on the Saturday podcast, download the RJ Young Show podcast, I'm going to talk with Bobby Carpenter about just that. Yes, the Bobby Carpenter. So that's going to be fun. But nah, man, that team had Chris Gamble on it, had Maurice Clarett. Like, that team had dudes, right? That 2002 squad was pretty damn good. That 2012 squad was really good too. Like, it is legit. It is legit. And then that 2016 squad, Zeke, Michael Thomas, and I could stop there, right? Like, I wouldn't have had to go on. Wouldn't have to keep talking. It is good. It is real good. Let me see. What else we got here? RG, you excited about Nebraska versus Oklahoma for 2021? Man, it is the only silver lining of 2020. Because you know how pissed I would have been if I don't get that Nebraska game. Like, I've been looking for that Nebraska game since the day they announced the schedule like 5-6 years ago. When they put it 2021, 2022, I'm like, cool. I know what I'm doing 2022. I'm taking my ass up to Lincoln, Nebraska, baby. Like, I was still in college the last time that Oklahoma and Nebraska played each other. Right? I was broke. I ain't had no money. I couldn't go. Next year after next, come here, baby. Yes. Bring OU Nebraska to me. Yes, I'm hyped. Super hyped. Ready to go. What else got in here? Leave my UCF Knights alone. We did nothing wrong to y'all. All right. Here's the thing, man. I'm here for the Central Florida experience. Okay? I am. I really am. I'm like the only college football broadcaster who's like, no, give Central Florida 2017 National Championship. Nobody else wants to agree. Matter of fact, my buddies over at College Football Nerds, they always try to dunk on me whenever I tell them I want to expand the playoff because they say, hey, there ain't but 3 or 4 teams that are good each year. Why do we need to expand the playoffs so that more watered down teams can get in? And be like, everybody deserves the same opportunity to get their ass kicked by Bama. That's why. If Bama can schedule Western Carolina, and they did, what the hell's wrong with having Central Florida play Alabama? Well, I don't get it. If Georgia can schedule Murray State, and they did, what the hell's the problem with Georgia playing an undefeated North Texas? I don't see an issue here. Put everybody in that needs to be in. Put the 8-5 teams in. Let everybody get a shot to get beat down. And then every now and again, you get a Butler. You get a Northern Iowa, an Ali Farouk-Manesh. I'm here for that. That makes it great. You get an Evansville beating up on a Duke or a Kentucky. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And given the opportunity for these other schools to get into the big dance means you get more football. You make more money. Hello? Am I the only person that wants to see this sport actually overthrow the NFL? I would love that. The only way to do that is to expand the playoff. If you expand the playoff, you make college football less regional. You make it a national sport. And everybody's got the same stake in it. Right now, we talk about the Pac-12 versus the ACC, the Big 12 versus the Big 10. No, none of that. Have 24 teams in the playoff. Make your conference champions your automatic qualifiers. The rest can get in, right? So Notre Dame go back to doing whatever the hell it is they're doing independently. And if they're good enough and they get voted in, fine. Match them up. Match them up. I'm here for it. Do you know how much I would love, absolutely, positively love, to see a Fresno State beat the hell out of Notre Dame in the first round of a playoff? I would never let them forget that. And neither would you. Because don't nobody like Notre Dame but Notre Dame fans. There are no casual Notre Dame fans. Everybody either hates them or loves them. You know, Georgia, Alabama, you could take or leave. Ohio State, you could take or leave. Michigan, you could take or leave. Notre Dame, you have an opinion. You got a damn opinion, right? There is no middle ground when it comes to the Fighting Irish. Let me see what we got. Just hope Nebraska competes better than years past. Ain't no doubt. Nah. I mean, I want it, but it ain't going to happen. Let's see what else we got in here. Here's some stuff that I want to get to. All right. I'll do another read, and then I want to go through my top 10 teams as it stands today, heading into week 4 of the college football season. All right. Getting married this year, organizing a corporate function that needs all the trimmings. Who is Mike Jones Event Planning? Who? Mike Jones. Who? Mike Jones. Who is Mike Jones Event Planning? Is your premier event coordinating and concierge firm. Who is Mike Jones Event Planning? Coordinates and caters events of all sizes, specializing in graduation parties, theme weddings, bar mitzvahs, quinceañeras, and Kwanzaa. Who is Mike Jones Event Planning? Wants to make sure that your event goes off without a hitch. And that means chopped and screwed planning ahead now. So put them H-Town Hussies on Front Street. Remember, back then, they didn't want you. Now you hot. They all on you. To make all your dreams come true, call Who is Mike Jones Event Planning at 281-330-8004. Tell them RJ sent you. Sooner or later, I'm going to have one of y'all rob the jewelry store and tell them make me a grill. Somebody got that reference. Somebody didn't. See, I don't need a 24-meeting mega conference as much as I need a playoff. I mean, I would love a mega conference, and I like doing that segment, but I'll take a mega conference. I'll take a playoff before I take a mega conference. Okay, top 10 teams, college football, right? It's one of these list segments that everybody does that y'all seem to love. All right, number 1, I'm put Clemson. 1, because Clemson has managed to play 2 games already, and they got 2 wins. Just getting the games in right now feels like a big deal, you know? And I don't care if they did beat Citadel. I care that Citadel was presented with the idea of a running clock in the second half, and they said, no, we want to get every single minute of your money. We want to get your money's worth in this game. And I get it, because nobody knows if they're going to be able to keep playing college football. You want to get as much football in as you possibly can. Clemson is also number 1 because they are coming off of a national runner-up showing in 2019, which is more than I can say about Ohio State. Who is number 2 in my poll, even though they're not going to play a game until week 7. And that's basically on the strength of Justin Fields, Trey Sermon. Yes, of course, the wide receiver group. Yes, of course, defensive line. But I would bet on Larry Johnson Sr. on general principle anyway. Getting Sean Wade back, Wyatt Davis, icing on the cake. They ought to be there right at the end if they are able to get through enough games to qualify. And that's right now going to be the big challenge for Ohio State. Number 3, I got Alabama. Much the same reason that I got Ohio State there. Mac Jones is good enough to win a national championship. You know why? Because Jay Cover was good enough to win a national championship. Because Greg McElroy is good enough to win a national championship. That's why he's good enough to win a national championship. It's not because he's the greatest quarterback. It's because he's good enough to get the job done, right? Najee Harris in the backfield, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, you know what it is. Defensively, Dylan Moses, Patrick Surtain Jr., DJ Dale, you know what it is. Number 4, I got Texas. Okay, got Texas. I got Texas at number 4 and Oklahoma at number 5 because Texas beat UTEP and Oklahoma beat Missouri State. UTEP is not good, but it is an FBS team. Missouri State is not good, and it is an FCS team. Why does that matter? It matters because the level of talent that you're able to recruit at University of Texas El Paso is better than the level of talent that you can recruit at Missouri State. It's also a commentary on scholarship limits. You get 85 scholarship players at an FBS program. You get 67, I believe, 65, 67 at an FCS program. Much fewer. Your budget's also a lot smaller for recruiting. Texas being able to beat up on UTEP, I'm going to give them the edge there because Texas is wild talented. I mean, Jordan Whittington's going to be out for a little bit, but they still got Jake Smith, who's coming back from injury. Brendan Eagles, Tarek Black, Brendan Schooler. And then in your backfield, you got Roshan Johnson, you got Keontae Ingram, you got Bijan Robinson. Sam Ehlinger is the best returning quarterback in the country, based entirely on him having, like 84 responsible touchdowns for. Like when we're talking about prolific, he is that dude. He is prolific. And if their defense is halfway decent under Chris Ash, I feel good about it. The thing about this is, Oklahoma and Texas could be flipped next week, depending entirely on how Texas beats Texas Tech. If it's like a one-score game, I'm going to dock Texas for that. Because Texas Tech needed a 2-point win against the Houston Baptists. What? Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Oklahoma gets Kansas State, who I thought was going to be a little bit more of something, and then Arkansas State was able to get a win. So there's that. Number 6, I got Florida. I could flip Florida and Georgia at 4 and 5, but that wouldn't be any fun. Plus, Florida hadn't played nobody yet, and I'm not entirely certain that they make it to the world's largest cocktail party without a loss or a blemish, but they do have a returning starter quarterback, and that's huge in the pandemic year where nobody gets to practice with anybody, and knowing that your playbook is your playbook is now a luxury as opposed to just something you thought you would have figured out by now. That is why Georgia is at 7 here, because Georgia doesn't know who the quarterback is in a year where Todd Monken is first-year offensive coordinator and they're changing up the offensive system. You also lost 3 starters on the offensive line, and you don't have an heir apparent to Dominique Blaylock to complement George Pickens. Just got a lot of question marks on the offense for me to put you ahead of Florida right now. Again, stuff can change, and stuff always does, but right now I got Florida ahead of Georgia because I like continuity a little bit more than I like talent when you have comparable talent. See Texas and Oklahoma. Auburn at number 8, Central Florida at number 9, and Marshall at number 10. I don't think anybody's going to have a problem with Auburn at 8 except maybe Texas A&M, perhaps. I would have put North Carolina here, but the way that they took that deep into the fourth quarter against Syracuse just gave me the willies, and they're not going to play again until October 3rd. So we ain't got to worry about North Carolina for a little bit. I know there's some people that would like to see Notre Dame in this top 10, but why? Like, every time we put Notre Dame in the top 10, Notre Dame does just enough to reassure us that they're good, but they're not great. See 2018, right? Barely beat a USC team that probably should have beat them and knocked them out of the playoff, and then you go get railroaded by Clemson with the same quarterback you have now. Okay? I understand if you wanted to put Notre Dame in the top 10, I would allow it. I just don't put them there. I certainly don't put them at 8. I put Auburn there at 8 because I know what Gus Malzahn is. I love the addition of Chad Morris. If he lets Chad Morris call the plays, I think it's going to be okay. I love Kevin Steele, the defensive coordinator. Owen Papo playing linebacker. Bo Nix at quarterback. Kalen Newton might actually break the depth chart. We'll see how that goes. But we know what they're going to do. They're going to run the ball and chuck it deep. They got 2 routes. Post and go. We'll see how that goes. Because every time we try to count Auburn out, they beat Oregon. Or they beat Alabama. Put them at 8. Central Florida is at 9 because they're winning. They're beating everybody that they have to beat. And I like Central Florida more than I like Notre Dame. Especially if Notre Dame can't run the football. Because with Kyron Williams, they're proving that they're going to be a running team. Right? They're going to try to take the ball out of Ian Book's hands as much as they can. And they're going to depend on their offensive line to try to go get them wins. And if Kyle Hamilton is healthy, that's one of the best safeties in the country, if not the best safety in the country. So we'll see. And then number 10, I got Marshall. Why do I have Marshall at 10? Because I watched every bit of that Appalachian State game, and I thought Appalachian State would have been a top 10 team if they just kept winning, they beat up on the Sun Belt, make it past Marshall. Turns out they're not that good, right? They're not good enough to go to a third consecutive head coach, even keeping the quarterback, even keeping the running game, even keeping the defense, and not suffer a loss in this non-conference such as it is. I like Sean Clark. I know that he was a part of the program for some time, but Eli Drinkwitz and what he did gets a little bit more interesting and gets a little bit more elevation from me because of how Sean Clark lost this game to Marshall. I'm also in on Marshall being good. Like, I saw him play. DJ Knox can run the ball. The offensive line is good enough. They play good defense, and their quarterback is figuring stuff out. Marshall is also a team that could get just as easily knocked out of this by a Notre Dame or by a North Carolina or even by a Texas A&M. But right now, Marshall's 2-0. Show me another team that's 2-0. Because when I'm doing this, wins and losses matter. Like, unless you're just that talented, Ohio State, Georgia, Florida, Auburn, Alabama, I'm not going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I need you to win some games. Because, like, I would have put North Carolina in this top 10 weeks ago. But then you're taking a 6-6 game into the fourth quarter against the Syracuse team I didn't expect to win 2 games. I don't feel that good about you anymore. So those are my top 10 teams right now. Why top 10? Because there are only 76 teams that are playing. Right? It's going to be 90 by October 24th, but we got to get to October 24th first. Check on the chat in this bit of time that we have left. Wolves58, appreciate you joining the community. If you are not a member of the RJ Young Show community, you should be because it costs, like, membership starts at 99 cents. And I have more 99-cent members than I have $5 members. Which means that, man, look, you're paying less than a penny per video? Like, conservatively, there are 4 segments a day that appear on this channel. That's 28 in a week. Right? That's like 112 videos in a month. They're only 100 pennies in a dollar. 99 and 99 cents. You see what I'm saying here? Like, in some ways, you're kind of robbing me. I'm not being facetious there. I'm being facetious, but you understand. It costs nothing. This channel is the 9th biggest city in the state of Oklahoma. Corey Carhop. Yeah, like, what was it? A couple weeks ago, this channel community got bigger than the entire city of Stillwater. What? Like, I think we're like 4,000 subs or something from being bigger than Boone Pickens Stadium, which is wild. Let me see. What else we got in here? From Russia with Ohio State the best. Yo, okay. We got Russian Ohio State fans. What did Aaron Taylor say? Aaron Taylor said the American is stronger than the Big 12. That's because Aaron Taylor's calling American games. Duh. Like, you ever see any Big 12 games on CBS? Y'all really need to start paying attention to these analysts and where they work. Nobody ever questions Joel Klatt because that dude is talking about Big 10 and Big 12 football, and the dudes that are watching him, they watch Big 10 or Big 12 football teams. CBS has the American, the SEC, Conference USA. They ain't got no Big 12 games. Of course Aaron Taylor's going to shade the Big 12. Hello? Man, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I need y'all to do this with your eyes open, with your eyes wide open. If somebody's not going to admit their bias to you, they are omitting it. Don't let them. Understand where everybody's angle is. I'm not saying I don't have an angle. I am saying be woke to the angle. Understand. Right? This is why I've always approached this by you knowing what the team is. Right? But that doesn't prohibit me from talking mad trash about Oklahoma. I do it almost daily. Come on, man. But do you think so or not of their alliance? What alliance? What I miss? Miami is the biggest underdog in college football this year, or Cincy. Miami should never be an underdog in any year. Ever. You know? Like, no shade to Louisville, but like, Miami probably shouldn't have beat them that badly. Like, a lot of us thought the Scott Satterfield squad was going to be better than that. But we'll see, right? Miami is in the ACC. So if they continue on this course, they get to collide with Clemson. Then we get to find out for sure whether or not Miami is the real deal. Because it wasn't that long ago, we would have picked Miami to beat Clemson. I say it wasn't that long ago. It's like 18 years. But you understand the point. Clemson showed they suck. Man, you getting put in timeout. Like, how did Clemson show they suck? Come out with this asinine comment. The Big 12 is an OU Texas departure from being a Group of 5 conference. Now, that's already a Group of 5 conference with OU and Texas in it. No, I don't agree with his claim. No, I don't. I make jokes, though, man. Like, until the American plays in the college football playoff, see me. It's that simple. Get your American team in the college football playoff. Then see me. You know, I make jokes about the Sun Belt owning the Big 12, but the Sun Belt ain't been nowhere near the New Year's 6. Come on, man. See me. It matters. Let's see. All right. I got parent-teacher conferences coming up here in a little bit. I appreciate y'all joining me an hour earlier than I normally do. We do the live shows normally on Mondays and Wednesdays at 3 o'clock local time. Please download the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, leave a 5-star review. If you leave a 5-star review and it is a nice 5-star review or it's even a decent question, I will read it on the show. I did it on the last one. We're up to 266 ratings. It'd be cool to be up to 276 ratings by the next time that we do this on Monday. There will be a Saturday podcast because the Saturday podcast is becoming really cool. Bobby Carpenter's going to be on the Saturday podcast with me. Very appreciative of his time, taking time to do that. There are no new reviews that you have left, so there goes that segment. All right. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, you should. And I know that most of the people that watch the channel don't. I don't understand why you don't subscribe. It costs nothing. Anyway, that is going to do it for me. I will check y'all in a couple of hours. Doses.